Aquarius, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to be here with you always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to be looking at your energy for the next few weeks via the tarot astrology, any channeled messages that come through. I'll also incorporate some Ayurvedic or holistic wellness practices that we can implement in order to enliven our optimal functioning mind, body, soul. So let's get into it. Happy day. I hope you're doing well. We just moved into Virgo season, and as I was preparing for your reading, Aquarius, I was picking up this energy of disappointment. Disappointment in someone else, or maybe even within self, choices that have been made. I'm picking up an energy of you taking time to separate yourself, to go within, to really kind of process through, and maybe even in a way to kind of self-protect and heal, which I think is really important. It's definitely in alignment with Virgo season. Virgo rules the sixth house of health and well-being, and it is a time, especially after Leo season, the accumulation of fire energy that is running rampant in us all. We can't avoid it, unfortunately. It is heightening conflict, tension, ego trips, trying to be on top, etc. Virgo season really helps us to reground and to stabilize and find balance. And like I said, it does put more of a central focus on our health, on our well-being. And the things that we need to do in order to be successful, like the things that we need to do to build that strong foundation, to have a strong foundation to work from. We're also in the midst of a new eclipse season. It began at the full moon, or the new moon, in Leo a week or so ago. We're coming up on the full moon in Pisces, which is a lunar eclipse, and that is focusing on changes that we need to make within self. It's not in a way to demean or to put you down or punish or point the finger at you. We're all going through it, number one. So please don't hear it as a, pointing you out type vibe. It's not about that at all. But this is also just like bringing that awareness, that light of understanding, of wisdom to yourself, to your own heart. The places that you seeing some disappointments arise, and places that maybe you would have done it a little bit differently. And the nice thing about these things coming back into our awareness is it really helps us to make adjustments for the future. And that's what I'm seeing ultimately you want. Even if you're not really sure what direction the future is headed, there might be a lot up in the air for you right now, a lot of uncertainty. Those solar eclipses, they bring in external change. So we're definitely seeing things change in our environment. And there's a lot to kind of go through, to sort through, to know exactly how things are unfolding. And I feel like they're definitely still in the unfolding process. We have just started that new eclipse season. So this is going to be going for the next 6 months or so. We're going to cover a lot of ground in that time. And that's also why I like to start off with an energy cleansing, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading. Cleanse out any of those places we might feel blocked or limited. You can also skip ahead if the blessing is not your vibe. No worries at all. You'll still receive the good vibes. And I do list the chapters down below. It's a really good time to set your own intention as well if you are going to move through this practice with me. Setting intention, especially around things that we've had on our heart or mind, things that we would like Spirit to deliver messages to us around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you are interested in that rebalancing of self, alignment of your mind, your body, your soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Because when we are aligned in self, that's really where we're tapping into our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. I would love to help support that for you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. I am working on my website, so until then, just shoot me an email and I would love to connect. All right, Aquarius, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly. and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. Mama Love. It's falling apart a little bit. Maybe you're falling out of love with someone or something. It doesn't have to be relationship. But I was picking up this energy like you're kind of kicking yourself for going with the flow around something. Maybe even listening to someone more than what you would have had you known the full story, or kind of understood a little bit more what their perspective was, like how they were approaching something. So detour is popping out. Detour and change course is what it symbolizes. I'm hearing this is like a detour within self, but I'm hearing this is more about in light of what you are seeing, in light of what you are uncovering. Whatever is coming to the surface, it is pointing you in a new direction. And yes, their free will is a thing. You can choose how long you want to stick around with someone, something, but you're getting a lot of hints from spirit that's saying, okay, Aquarius, it's time to move on, or it's time to choose things a little bit differently, or figure out what else is available to you so you're not staying stuck in certain habits and patterns. I love this. Travel is in your overarching energy. So confirmation on what I was just saying. Pick up and go. Have a little bit of fun. Do some exploration this week. You don't necessarily have to take a trip if that's not in your wheelhouse right now. But it is definitely that vibe of not really doing the same old things day in and day out. Eccentric person, a person with a different worldview pops out. So you might be dealing with someone who has a completely separate worldview than you, or you might just come along the path of someone who brings a new perspective into your life, and especially around whatever you're dealing with. Like, I am picking up that you're having a hard time sorting through something, making peace with it, maybe, but that's exactly why Spirit is encouraging you to get out of the norm, connect with new people, new experiences, and even to that point, maybe people you wouldn't normally or naturally connect with. Just kind of put yourself out there and see what comes from that environment. Temptation, alluring thoughts or actions. I feel like someone wants to bring you into temptation. We're also seeing this pop up as well with the upcoming lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces. It can definitely heighten like our emotions, our feelings around what we are experiencing. And because so much of what we are going through right now is directly in alignment with our growth, our spiritual evolution, they're not easy lessons to learn, right? They're not the most palatable lessons. And I feel like in part, our mind is kind of trying to make it a little bit more palatable, make it better than what it actually is. Maybe even giving someone something the benefit of the doubt, or someone wants you to do that with them. They might even be pulling in your energy through abundance, right? Like overgiving, trying to kind of lure you in with maybe promises, or maybe they are just showering you with affections. Maybe it is actually physical gifts, money, assets, etc. But we're getting the cut off card. Let go of what no longer serves you. And I feel like this is becoming a lot more clear through your interactions with someone. I feel like you are taking the blinders off. It comes through that you're like, someone's selling themselves out. Someone is actually like, if you take that step back and really listen to what's being said, the conversations, the beliefs, it's highlighting places where you do have different worldviews, where like really you're not in alignment with what is being said or the actions that are being taken. And to the point that you do feel this need to separate yourself. And I think it's also separating yourself so you can kind of sort yourself out, right? Like I'm seeing that like you don't want the influence of someone anymore, someone, something, like you need to gather some space so you can really figure out what is what. And they're trying, this energy is definitely trying to hold on. As I'm saying this, I'm reminded of the weekly reading, so definitely check it out if you're interested. But there definitely was these energies and several energies popping up in the way of like trying to resist how things are naturally moving forward, really holding on to certain ideas, beliefs, projections, etc. And why I'm highlighting that is because it really looks like you are seeing through the illusion. And this is not an easy thing to do, because this is definitely a test. Some amount of awareness, some amount of understanding has been brought to light for you, Aquarius. Things that like you can't really deny. And I think, again, I feel like it's important for you. I feel like it's actually something that's needed. It's needed for your growth. It's needed for your evolution. It's needed so you can push beyond something. I don't know. Let's see how attached you are to this. I'm curious about this temptation card for you. It does look like you are keeping yourself high vibe, though. That's how I would say it. And what do I mean by high vibe? Like, you're just not being pulled into any control, manipulation, bad behavior that you really don't want to be a part of. And I do hear someone's not making it easy, right? They might be really good at knowing how to pull on your heartstrings. I'm hearing there is some type of lies, manipulation. We're getting the King of Pentacles, so Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, more earth energy you could be dealing with. Or this might even just be a partner, someone that you do actually rely on or you value their opinion and what they bring to the table. It could be a father figure. It doesn't have to be a male, but it definitely has masculine undertones, or someone who maybe you have financial attachments to, maybe someone who oversees the money or controls your money to a certain capacity. We'll see a little bit more about who and what this is to you, but I'm going to pull a few more cards first. Let's see how you're popping up, Aquarius. Okay. Very interesting. You have the Three of Pentacles. You're willing, you're showing up like in a honest way, right? Like, this is showing up. Let's figure it out. Let's balance things out. Let's work together. The King of Pentacles in the blocked energy is having a hard time. Like, you're dealing with someone who has a very fixed and rigid perspective. And it also looks like they're not really moving from that. Again, this might be someone who has a certain level of control over you, or like, it could be a boss. It could just be an elder, or, like I said, a parent, grandparent, someone that you respect, someone who does have a say-so. And again, someone who doesn't feel like they're giving you or the situation, whatever you're dealing with, a lot of space. I want to hear a little bit more about what this is. So it's making it really hard. It is kind of messing with your happiness right now. For some reason, this is affecting you. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, so we got a few more people showing up. You could even be dealing with someone who's not listening to the most sound advice, or the dynamic or the situation or the person that they're listening to, that they're dealing with, might have a very jaded perspective, and also why they're having a really hard time changing their perspective. This is going to be a little bit of a tug of war is what I'm seeing. It feels like one energy you have to work with, and another energy is either a bystander or influencing the energy that you have to work with. And it's making it really hard for you to get your point across. I don't see you necessarily like leaving this energy. You might be challenging it a little bit, but it also feels like you don't really want to push too hard. If anything, you're keeping things kind of copacetic, like you're keeping things balanced to the best of your ability. I do actively see you setting boundaries though as well, even though, let's see. I'm gonna see what these boundaries are first. What is this cutoff signifying? Maintaining your sanity is what I'm hearing. Okay, so we get the King of Swords, like not getting so involved. There's the World again. The King of Swords is very diplomatic. It is a very linear existence. It's very like black and white, kind of looking at things through a very not even practical, but it's like a pros and cons list, a very intellectual perspective. And because of the facts, right? Because of the facts, because of the reasoning behind something, it looks like this is something that like, there's still more unfolding. I think there's a lot of realizations happening is what I'm seeing with this Sun card. Maybe with this temptation, you got pulled into something, or someone got pulled into something, and things are a little bit messier the way that they look now. Even though something's promising not to be so toxic, not to be so unhealthy, but there still is a lot of unhealthy dynamics playing out. And so I think for you, like, I don't know if this is just like family or something you've been a part of for a long time, because it does look like on some level you're used to this. Yep, there's our devil. There's a lot of toxicity involved, but let's see who this King of Wands is. And again, this looks like stuff that you don't agree with, that you might agree with whatever the goal or the aim was, but you don't really agree with the approach, how someone went about something. 8 of Cups, the Tower, the Devil, is extremely toxic energy. It's just someone who is being very, very destructive. And in a way of like ultimate control, ultimate like dictator, you know, kind of making sure that winning at all costs, yes, but it's like deeper than that. And it looks like that's, maybe you played along with it a little bit, and that was part of what this temptation is. It doesn't really look like you're playing or participating anymore. I'm hearing you got your fill. You got your fill, and now you're starting to realize or wake up to what that actually, how that was actually being projected out into the world, or whatever this situation dynamic is. I see you, like I said, I see you keeping things pretty surface. I see you wanting to not rock the cradle, not rock the boat too much. Double confirmation on that King of Wands. It does look like someone's popping up to maybe explain things, but the explanation does feel like it had, well, the way that this person dynamic asserts themselves is very authoritative, right? The King of Wands is definitely someone who's selling it like he has his stuff together. And this is someone you believe. I don't think that you're questioning this energy, and that might be why you're having this test come up in your blocked energy. Because whatever is transpiring over these next few weeks, it looks like you have an opportunity to be sucked back into something again, or cut yourself off, actually break yourself free. I don't think breaking yourself free is easy though, Aquarius, because there looks like there's a lot of things intertwined. And it does, like I said, it looks like you're believing someone something, giving them the benefit of the doubt. They hold some level of weight, within the connection, where you do give them a certain amount of understanding, King of Cups, because you can understand, like I think there's parts of whatever is being said that you get, that you understand. And so you are very empathetic, but there's just like a lot of people showing up, there's a lot of people showing up. It looks like it's a situation, either it's gotten really messy, or you're just, like I said, you're just trying to keep the peace between everybody. Let's clarify this world. You don't want to see people that you care about hurting, but there might not be a complete understanding of all the ins and outs. And that's where some of this is confusing, or you're not seeing the whole picture. It does look like some of this is a test, but I don't know, you're still holding out for something. You're still not fully believing that something is done and over with. And it might be because you have some people who are like directly saying that or selling that. I don't know. There's some type of promise here. There's some type of promise that someone is trying to rope you in with. And I don't think it's directly like, I'm promising this to you. Maybe they are. But the way that they're communicating, it's enough to get you engaged. It's enough to get you curious. It's enough to be like, I don't see you questioning anybody. But I also see that there's not a lot of clarity. Like, it might do you a world of good to take a beat and really process through, especially with the motivations and intentions that people and dynamics are playing from. I like this travel card for you. I think that this is about connecting with people and dynamics that are a little bit more your speed, that are willing to work together in an easy way, not in a way that you have to force, because whatever is going on over here, it's like you do have a difference of opinion. You do see things differently, but that opinion's not being heard or respected. And if anything, you kind of have to make yourself a little bit more docile. Sorry, don't hate me for saying that, but you have to shrink yourself down for someone else to be right. And it looks like you're kind of giving someone something that, and again, maybe it's just because it's like herd mentality. Like, a lot of people are on board with a certain thing. And so it's hard to go against the grain, or it's hard to question, or, whatever. But it does feel like there's more to the story, or there's something underneath that's not necessarily being seen. And there might be some like naivete, or, this will end up sorting itself out down the way anyway, so I don't really have to deal with it in present time. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with it. And maybe it's not over the next couple weeks, because it does look like Spirit does want you to set some strong boundaries, get out of your normal day-to-day functioning, have a little bit of fun, really honor your heart, your mind, your soul, nurture, support yourself, because that's really how we receive answers, especially when there isn't a lot of clarity around things. And I think it's also going to highlight these places that Spirit has been testing you, that maybe something that seems pretty innocent on the surface isn't so much. So I'm closing out with this oracle deck that just encourages different type of holistic practices, things that aren't ever meant to replace any medical suggestions. It's not medical advice. Please know that I'm not a doctor. It's just to kind of help navigate some of the difficulty, some of the chaos, practices that we can do, things like breathing techniques, things that are simple, soft to our soul, that can really help us ground and find stability, especially as we are in Virgo season and we do have that emphasis on wellness. If it hurts, don't do it. Never put yourself in an unsafe situation. These are just suggestions. Never go against the advice of a medical professional, just as you know. Okay, so the first card I'm getting is Pendulum Hug. I really like this. Pendulum Hug is a comforting movement that helps calm the nervous system by creating a nurturing self-hug. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart and cross your arms in front of your chest as if you're giving yourself a hug. Gently swing your upper body from side to side like a pendulum, allowing your arms to loosen and move with the flow. I like that because I feel like it's going to help break up some of the stagnant energy, some of the energy that's hard to see through. I'm also hearing like maybe you just need a hug, and maybe that hug really does actually need to come from self instead of relying on external, because you have so much going on in the external, and that's where I'm seeing like your needs or your heart is not being fulfilled in the way that it needs to. It also feels like you're being strong for other people and putting yourself maybe at the bottom of the list. Footwork. Footwork is a grounding exercise that focuses on stimulating the feet and improving circulation. Sit comfortably and begin by gently massaging your feet, releasing tightness. You can also try scrunching your toes, flexing, and pointing your feet to activate the muscles. You can even do like a practice of going up and down on your tippy toes, things that really just, or you can use a favorite lotion, a favorite oil, essential oil, something that kind of resonates with some of the emotions that you're feeling. That will help kind of calm, soothe your nervous system. I'm hearing that a lot of like what Spirit's encouraging you to do is to help get that flow, to help re-enliven the prana, the life force energy within you. Because it does feel like things are getting stuck, and they're getting stuck in a way where it's like maybe you can only look at the superficial around something, but it is kind of disconnecting you from self. And I feel like that's the bottom line. That's the ultimate thing that's the most important. You want to be connected with self, because otherwise you are getting thrown into the mix of something, a dynamic that you really just like don't even want to be in. And if anything, you have a completely different perspective on how it should be handled. Vagus nerve massage, also a good one. The vagus nerve massage exercise helps reduce stress. Using your index and middle finger, gently massage the area behind your ears, moving down along your jawline and neck. Apply gentle pressure and make slow circular motion. Take deep breaths as you do this, allowing the massage to calm your nervous system and bring a sense of peace to your body. The vagus nerve is so powerful, and especially like from an Ayurvedic perspective, when we're kind of thinking about the way that we bring in that prana or life force, it does circulate, right? It goes to our mind, it goes to our brain first and foremost, and then it pushes down and circulates through the body, right? That information coming in, our brain is computing and then sending the energy, the nutrients to the necessary parts in order for us to feel enlivened, in order for us to feel healthy and well. And when energy gets stuck, it creates blockage, it creates inflammation, it creates resistance, headaches, we get stressed out. There's so many different things that can manifest as a result. And especially when it comes to disconnecting from self. And a lot of what I'm hearing is like not allowing yourself to get stuck over the next few weeks, right? If you're feeling like you can't be in the middle of someone else's argument or someone else's fight, then maybe it is good to set some boundaries, to take a step back, to get yourself out there a little bit differently or new, or do some exciting things for yourself. It's really going to help you find a little bit more balance, harmony. It's going to help you connect to yourself. I think these are things that are really nurturing for your energy. And it's also going to help identify where these proverbial tests are arising in your life, so that you can kind of take that step back and say, whoa, maybe I shouldn't buy X, Y, and Z at hook, line, and sinker. Maybe I need to vet this a little bit more. Maybe I need to do my own research, my own investigation before I'm giving someone something ultimate credibility. I feel like that's going to help bring a little bit more balance, but it's hard to do that when you're so in the thick of it. And I feel like Spirit just wants you to like slow down a little bit, do some breath work, do something, give yourself a hug, allow the prana, the life force, to move through your body, through your system, and then re-engage. It does feel like night and day different. I think these are like simple acts that you can do, Aquarius, that's going to help you just realign, readjust, and then you can come back to whatever this is a little stronger and more prepared. So thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I always love to connect, share in a little love, a little TLC. I love to hear how things resonate or just what's going on in your world. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I am sending love and blessings to you.